Hello, everybody. My name is Kristina Johnson. I am CEO of KJ Marketing Group, and this is Marketing Makeover with Kristina Johnson. After nearly 15 years in marketing, I decided to start my own agency because I witnessed firsthand what could be done better for the client. With a strong background in agency and analytics, I know that database marketing is the foundation of all effective marketing campaigns. But that's only the beginning, because we're also going to hit on subjects such as women in business, talking to women CEOs, and lending advice on how to make your mark in your industry. So do you have a marketing issue? Let's solve it. Now let's get started. Let's get right into this. So today my guest is Vicki Luna. She is president of the board of the Latin Women's Initiative and public affairs specialist at HEB. Hi, Vicki. How are you?
Hi, Kristina. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks for coming in today. You look fabulous as always. So let's get right into this Latin Women's Initiative, what it's about, and let's let everybody know in Houston how they can get involved. But first, what is your mission?
So the mission of Latin Women's Initiative is to support Latin women and children through financial and volunteer support through local nonprofits in the Houston area. Currently, we are supporting 5 nonprofits this year. We support 5 nonprofits every year with our biggest fundraising event, which will be held on Friday, May 6th at the Hilton Americas. It is a fashion show and luncheon, and this is our biggest event that we put together to raise funds for these 5 nonprofits that we support.
So I want to know, whenever I meet somebody who works with nonprofits and has as much passion as you do, there's always a story behind it. So what is your story? Why did you become involved in this nonprofit in particular?
So just growing up, heart of service, I saw my grandparents very involved in the church and in the community. Same thing with my parents. And it was just something that was instilled in me from a very young age to give back. It's something I'm very passionate about. I remember moving here 20 years ago to Houston and attending my first Latin Women's Initiative event. And I was just in awe of what these Latina women were doing in the community. We're actually celebrating the 20-year anniversary of the Fashion Show and Luncheon this year.
That's fabulous.
Although the organization has been in existence for 26 years. But I just saw what they were doing. I thought they were just amazing, fabulous women doing amazing things in the community. It's something that we don't really have in the Houston community, focused, on supporting Latin women and children organizations. So it spoke to my heart. And I eventually became involved as a volunteer. I had friends that served on the board and just became involved. I'm in my 5th year. And so I'm in my 5th year, but in my 5th year this year, I am president.
That's wonderful, and I'm actually involved as well after meeting you, because I was so, I loved just your passion for this organization, and it really shows when you speak about it. So you're president.
Yes.
I can only imagine how busy you are, and this is a volunteer position, correct?
It is. So I'm just very fortunate and honored to serve alongside other ladies that dedicate their time and their resources. Latin Women's Initiative does not have a staff. We are a volunteer working board, so the board of directors are the staff. We do have one part-time admin, and she is just the glue that holds us together.
Yes.
But aside from that, it is a volunteer working board, so the board members work very hard, donate their time, their resources, their talents to make this board a success. So I'm very fortunate to be serving alongside these ladies.
And you told me before, this is pretty much your second job. What is entailed in a president of a nonprofit? What do you do on a daily basis? And what do you need help with the most?
Well, I think I feel like I've been very fortunate because we do have a group of very strong board members, and everyone, brings different skill sets. Everyone's donating so much of their time, but everyone brings a different skill set, different resources to where it all just comes together. But yes, it is a lot of work because, if something is not working or if something, a deadline is not met, who is it going to fall on? The president,
Absolutely.
It's just, managing and keeping up with all the committees and board members just to make sure that everything's coming together so that everything works. But again, we have chairs for different committees, so it's a very strong board. with the ladies, and they make it easy. But it entails everything from working with finance to working with our community chair, our public relations chair, and then putting on this big event, our membership chair. I mean, there's just so much involved, but it's so gratifying and so self-rewarding, because what we get to do with these organizations by not only volunteering our time with them, but also, fundraising for them. Last year we had a record-breaking year, and we donated $150,000 to these 5 organizations.
That is phenomenal.
They each received $30,000. And aside from the funding and the board members and our members, thank you for becoming a member, coming out to volunteer with us and providing volunteer opportunities with all 5 of these organizations, we're also bringing awareness. Many people in the community might not be familiar with one of the organizations, so we're bringing awareness to who they are, what they do, the clients that they serve. So it's just a win-win.
I think it's very interesting to me, because even with our first conversation when we met for lunch, you talked about some of these organizations, even for underwear, that these kids don't even have that. And you don't think about these things. You always think about food and some clothes, but there's organizations that are dedicated to that, correct? I mean, those
Correct.
are the ones that you help.
Yes, Undies for Everyone is one of our beneficiaries this year.
That's wonderful.
And it's a need that people, as you said, most of the time you think, food or those kinds, but there's also such a need for so many other things that we overlook, or maybe we're just not aware of.
Yes. So donor events. Every nonprofit has donor events. I know that some have quarterly donor events, but you have a huge one, and it's actually pretty fun, especially for the ladies out there. Tell us about this fashion show. I know it's coming up in May, so discuss what this is about, what happens, what are the donor possibilities, the events, if obviously you guys are almost sold out this year. So this is something to think about for next year for some companies.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yes. Very, very excited. It's our 20th anniversary, May 6th at the Hilton Americas. It's a very nice luncheon, very well attended. We're expecting 900 to 1,000 attendees. We are almost sold out of sponsorship. So if you're interested in sponsorship levels, you can visit our website. But with it being our 20th anniversary, it's also very special this year. We're going to be honoring all of our past presidents. So there are 14 of them that will be honored at the 20th anniversary. We have a designer coming from Latin America. Tootsie's is our retail partner, and they will be showcasing the 8 Latin lines that they sell at Tootsie's. And Mayel Coronel from Colombia will be our in-person designer.
Very nice.
And we'll present the beneficiaries also that will be receiving the funding. So there are 5 nonprofits this year. It is Homemade Hope, Books Between Kids, Wesley Community Center, Undies for Everyone, and Tejano Center for Community Concerns.
So leading up to this, where we get into the marketing aspect, because everybody has to have some type of marketing tactic in order to, push these events and get people involved. And I know one thing that you and I have discussed quite a few times since we've met is the benefit of having an agency involved with the nonprofits, especially because, like you said, most of them are working boards. So what are some of the benefits that I would like to address to other nonprofits out there that could be very helpful for them is that a lot of nonprofits think agency, and what do they think automatically? Expensive. We can't afford it.
Exactly.
But that's really not true, because a lot of times agencies do give discounts on working with nonprofits. We actually give a 15% discount for nonprofits. And also there's just really great benefits to that, because if you don't have necessarily a board, you have a working board, it's a lot easier and more cost efficient to hire an agency. Some of the things that benefit are the time saving. Like you said, you're constantly working. I mean, you're working on the weekends too. So one of those, that's a really big benefit. Also, you're getting years of experience. You're actually saving thousands of dollars by having somebody come in. And so it's been really great to team up with you and figure out, even for next year, how we can make it even more profitable for you guys. One thing that you and I talked about, you mentioned email blast. So you send these email blasts to your current customers, correct? Every year to get them, to invite them to and let them know the information behind the upcoming event?
So we do an email blast to all of our current members, but also to our sponsors. and even past sponsors. We have a list, a database that we still connect with past sponsors, current sponsors, but it's just not the email blast. We really do go back to the basics with Latin Women's Initiative. We like to personalize things. So usually what we do is we'll send a letter to all of our past and current sponsors and just kind of like, hi, save the date.
Yes.
This is coming. And then we start with that, and then you'll be surprised. We've been doing this event for 20 years that sometimes we haven't even sent the letter out and we're already receiving checks in the mail because, we have built a following. Yes. So it's very important, I think. And when I say go back to the basics, that's what I mean. You make it personal. We're very big about nurturing our relationships that we have with our sponsors and maintaining those relationships. So we're very fortunate in that sense. And then our board members, again, the board of directors works very hard, to get the word out. We do have a social media chair, so we post a lot, on all the social media platforms.
Yes.
Sending out letters, and that's pretty much, we've never worked with the marketing agency, so I know that was something when you and I met for lunch. I think I completely agree. You think marketing agency and people think expensive.
Yes.
But it's not, because you would be tailoring the needs to that organization and what they need to get the most of their money to take them to a higher level.
Well, and we have really big responsibility as agencies because we offer so many ways to market. We have traditional marketing, digital marketing, creative, but our job is to make sure that we're able to customize something that's going to work for the client, depending on what their budget is. What's the most that you can get out of what you have to spend for marketing? One of the things that I'd like to talk about is the newsletter. You guys do an e-blast, but including newsletters into your marketing is extremely important. And I'll tell you, 9 out of every 10 marketers use email marketing to distribute content organically. And what that does is it really keeps your brand top of mind and keeps them aware of your business and also updated with any type of events, news, industry news, anything that you really want to relate to that client to keep them interested in your business or your nonprofit. Some ways that we can definitely start making that an even better process would be, optimizing your list. How often are you optimizing your list every year? Are you constantly adding to your list? Is that something that you guys really pay attention to?
Yes. So we're constantly adding it as our members go online to sign up. They pay their membership due, and then they go online to sign up. So it's constantly updated, and our membership is only a 1-year membership. So if you want to continue to receive these email blasts, this is where we communicate all our information.
Yes.
If there's an event that's taking place, if there's a volunteer opportunity, there's also, we receive, I'll give you an example. The Rockets reached out to us. They were doing Una Noche Latina. And so they wanted to provide a discount code to our members, and
which makes perfect sense.
It does.
It's the Latina Women's Initiative.
Exactly. And so we share all that type of information, whether it's for events, but also being a member is also perks because we have member-only events, and so everything is communicated to our members first.
Yes.
So members get priority over everything, and it does help. I think it keeps people informed. It's something that they receive, they can check it at their own leisure, and it's just a great way to still communicate. And everyone has an email. Everyone checks their email.
Yes.
So it's just been really helpful. That's probably been our main form of communication with our members and our sponsors.
Yes, email is not dead, everybody. Email
it is not.
And depending on scrubbing your list, and that's the thing. We send out emails, and there's so many ways to do it. I know some smaller companies use MailChimp, and there's some other ones that use Sendinblue and other types of email services. But I'll tell you that being able to personalize the email, there's ways to make sure that you can check the subject line of the email. It's actually graded to make sure that you get more click rates, and just really understanding the data behind emails is very important. What is the click rate? How many people are opening the email? What are they doing when they open the email? Trace it back to your Google Analytics for your website. There's so many ways to really get them engaged, and I think going into this year for 2022, a lot of it is more engagement, being able to put videos, being able for them to play and actually engage in what you're sending them them is very important. So if you are a nonprofit and you haven't really scrubbed your list, or you're not bringing people constantly, maybe a newsletter pop up on your website, something to get people involved and to keep on communicating with them is extremely important. Not only to keep your current customers, but also to get referrals and to get new members in is very important.
Well, not only that, but I also think that we're a nonprofit and our funders want to know where the money is going.
Absolutely.
And so that's one thing we do at the end of every year with our community impact report. We blast it out to our members. Our members also want to know what we're doing.
I love
if
the
they're paying a fee. And so they want to know what we're doing. Our funders want to know what we're doing. And you use the perfect word. It keeps everyone engaged. I always say, you have to be informing and you have to be engaging.
Yes.
And if you're not doing both of those things, then it's not going to work, because people want the information, but they also want to be engaged.
Yes. And it's content.
Absolutely.
The more content you can put out there, the better for your brand. Now, one thing that we discussed that I love is that human touch.
Yes.
Actually, I don't hear this from a lot of companies or nonprofits, but you guys actually send a handwritten letter to your donors every year.
Yes.
How do you guys get that done, and what has it done for your nonprofit?
So I know I mentioned this earlier, but going back to the basics, I think people still like to receive that.
Yes.
We live in a world right now where everyone is so busy and it's so easy just to send a quick email or a text message. But when you're actually taking the time to write a letter, I think, I know for me, if I receive one, I'm like, oh, they took the time to do this. And it just makes it more meaningful. It adds that personal touch. So we do write thank you letters to all of our sponsors. We're actually going to be doing that next week. The goal is to get them all written out and mailed out.
So who writes these, Vicki?
The board of directors. Okay. Yes, it is not volunteers. Well, the board of directors, we are volunteers, but it is a board of directors. We set aside an evening, 3 to 4 hours that we set aside, and that we meet that evening and we write the handwritten thank you notes, and we get them in the mail, because the goal is to have these before the luncheon on May 6th, so that the sponsor receives the letter thanking them and thank you, and we look forward to celebrating with you.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think that really helps you stand out from the crowd. And something that easy. Not every marketing tactic has to be this huge marketing tactic, even the small things. Like, we always want to think about the details. And I think that's really important to know, that small detail and that small extra step that you do can be really big gains for your nonprofit. I love that.
And it's not expensive. It's just taking the time to do it.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so I love all of this that we're talking about. And if you're a nonprofit out there and you would like marketing tips, please visit our website, www.marketingmakeoverpodcast.com. And of course, I want to thank Vicki for being on the show. She's my first guest here. And it's been such a great pleasure to get to know her and to actually become involved in her nonprofit. A few things I want to know, Vicki, before we go is, number one, how can somebody get involved in your nonprofit? If they're in Houston and they really want to give back. I mean, I know me growing up Latina, it really does matter to me about our community. And so how can they get involved, and what do they need to do? And give your website information too, so they can get a hold of you.
Yes, please visit our website at www.latinwomensinitiative.org. There you will find all of the information and learn more about us. We have our history, our mission, the nonprofits we support, sponsors, contact information. We're very transparent. And if there's any questions, there's an email and a phone number, and we will definitely get back to you. But hope you can join us.
And there's always one thing I always ask: what would you like to communicate? If there's one thing that you could communicate to the audience about your nonprofit, what would that be?
Many of us, when I'm out in the community and they hear Latin Women's Initiative, they say, oh, yes, you put on that fabulous fashion show and luncheon every year in May. And I always say, yes, we do. But we're so much more than that. We are not a fashion organization. That is the event that we are known for, because that is our fundraising event for the 5 nonprofits that we support. But we are a service organization. Mm-hmm. Our mission is to financially support, but also to volunteer our time. And at the end of the day, it's about these 5 nonprofits that we're supporting throughout the year. financially through volunteer service, and also just bringing awareness to them. And so that's what I always say. We're not a fashion organization, although yes, we do put on an amazing fashion show and luncheon in May. We are a service organization.
Well, ladies, who does not love a good fashion show? I love a good fashion show. So does Vicki. She has really great earrings. If you can see them on. But yes, so thank you, Vicki, for coming on the show. And of course, if anybody wants to get involved, please, you can go to our website, and we'll also have information on how you can get involved as well. Thank you for attending the first show of Marketing Makeover, and we will definitely have more for you coming up soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kristina.
For more information on how to take your nonprofit to the next level, visit our blog at marketingmakeoverpodcast.com.